You know the feeling. It's 2 p.m., your eyes are getting heavy, the words on your screen are starting to blur, and all you can think about is taking a nap. Yup, that's the afternoon slump, and it's way more than just feeling a little tired. So, in this explainer, we're going to dig into the hidden forces behind that daily crash, and more importantly, give you the tools to fight back and actually reclaim your afternoon.
Yeah, Dr. Stephanie Bishop really nails it, right? It's this universal experience, that sudden energy drain that leaves you feeling foggy, maybe a little irritable, and definitely reaching for a sugary snack. But here's the thing you've got to understand. This isn't just in your head. It's a real biological event happening inside your body.
And you know, this isn't just a feeling. It has a real-world impact that you can actually measure. Research consistently shows that the early afternoon is the least productive time of the day for most people. But it doesn't just stop at work. That fatigue spills over into our personal lives. Think about it. Studies show that almost half of us, 44%, just skip our workout, and over a third miss out on social time, all because we're just too wiped out.
All right, so how do we fix this? Here's the game plan. First, we'll really define what that 2 p.m. wall is. Then, we're going to uncover the hidden rhythms in your body that are secretly pulling the strings. We'll pinpoint the daily triggers that turn a small dip into a huge crash. Then we get to the good stuff, a practical toolkit to reclaim your afternoon. And finally, we'll cover the really crucial signs that tell you when this slump might actually be a red flag for something more serious.
Okay, so first things first, let's get on the same page. What exactly is this 2 p.m. wall we're always talking about?
So this isn't just about being a little tired. It's a very specific biological event, and it usually hits somewhere between 1 and 4 p.m. You know the symptoms. You get drowsy, you can't concentrate, and suddenly you have this powerful craving for sugar or caffeine. And here's the kicker. Pretty much everyone gets this, but how hard it hits can be wildly different. For some, it's a minor dip, but for others, it feels like you've literally hit a brick wall.
So what's really going on under the hood? Let's take a look at the two hidden biological drivers that are creating this daily pattern.
Okay, driver number one is something called your circadian rhythm. Basically, it's your body's built-in 24-hour clock. And this clock is actually hardwired for a dip in alertness in the afternoon. During this window, your core body temperature drops just a little, and your brain becomes more receptive to melatonin, which is the sleep hormone. It's literally a hardwired signal to chill out, and it has absolutely nothing to do with that sandwich you had for lunch.
Now here's where it gets interesting. That natural dip happens at the exact same time that our second driver is getting really strong, sleep pressure. See, from the moment you wake up, your body's need for sleep just steadily builds and builds. By mid-afternoon, that pressure's pretty high. So you've got this rising need for sleep crashing right into your body's natural rest time. It's the perfect storm for an energy crash. And if you're carrying around any sleep debt, that crash feels a whole lot worse.
Okay, so we've got the biology down. But our daily habits, they can take that natural little dip and turn it into a full-on crash. Let's get into the main culprits.
First up, and this is a big one, is what's on your lunch plate. A huge lunch that's heavy in refined carbs, we're talking white pasta, bread, that kind of stuff, forces your body to pull all this energy just to digest it, basically robbing your brain of the power it needs. On the flip side, a balanced meal with protein, healthy fats, and complex carbs gives you a slow, steady release of fuel, no drama.
And that kind of crash-prone lunch, it sends you on what I call the blood sugar roller coaster. All that sugar causes this huge spike. Your body then panics and releases a flood of insulin to deal with it, but it often overcorrects, which sends your blood sugar crashing right back down. And the result? You feel tired, and ironically, you start craving more sugar, and boom, you're right back where you started, kicking off that whole vicious cycle again.
And then there's a trigger that is so common, but we almost always forget about it: dehydration. Get this, even mild dehydration, we're talking losing just 1 or 2% of your body's water, is enough to bring on fatigue and that fuzzy brain feeling. Most of us start the day already behind on water, and by the afternoon, that deficit makes the natural energy dip feel like a total nosedive.
All right, so we get the problem. Now for the fun part. Let's build a toolkit with some real practical strategies you can actually use to fight back and take back your afternoon.
This all kicks off with eating smarter, not necessarily less. The goal is just stable energy, no spikes and crashes, and you get there by building your meals around protein and healthy fats, which keep your blood sugar nice and steady. Then you pair those with complex carbs. Think of them as the slow-burn logs for your energy fire. And please, don't forget to hydrate consistently all day long. By the time you actually feel thirsty, you're already behind.
Finally, you might try smaller, more frequent meals to keep your digestive system from getting overwhelmed.
Next up, you've got to move your body to fight that fatigue. And I'm not talking about a crazy intense workout here. Just a quick 10-minute walk is enough to flood your brain with fresh blood and oxygen, and that gives you an immediate jolt of alertness. Even simple stuff like just standing up to stretch or always taking the stairs are super powerful tools to break that cycle of sedentary fatigue.
And please, whatever you do not underestimate the power of light. See, light is like the master switch for your circadian system. Getting outside for just 10 or 15 minutes of natural daylight in the early afternoon helps reinforce your body's, hey, it's time to be awake message, and that directly fights back against those sleepy signals coming from your internal clock.
Okay, look, for most of us, these little lifestyle changes are going to make a massive difference. But, and this is really important, for some people, that persistent, soul-crushing fatigue might actually be pointing to a deeper issue. So if you've been doing all this stuff and you still feel absolutely wiped out every single afternoon, it might be time to look a little deeper. Persistent fatigue can be a sign of underlying issues, like being low on key nutrients like iron or vitamin D. It could also point to problems with your thyroid or even hormonal imbalances. If that sounds like you, it's definitely worth having a chat with your doctor. So what's the big takeaway here? It's this. That little dip in the afternoon, that's just biology. You can't really negotiate with it. But that soul-crushing crash that just wrecks your whole afternoon, that does not have to be a reality. You have a huge amount of control over the lifestyle factors that turn that small dip into a massive slump.
And that really brings me to my final thought for you. Now that you know all this, I want you to think about it. What is the one thing, maybe it's a short walk, a big glass of water, or swapping that pasta for a salad, what one thing will you change about your afternoon tomorrow?